So I'm aware that Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire is old-ish news by now, and I'm also aware that probably some of you don't care a whole lot about this story, but I do have a few thoughts and opinions on the situation that I wanted to air out and get your opinions on. So that being said, let's get into it. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. I appreciate you being here, whether this is the first time you have clicked on one of my videos or you are a returning supporter. Do me a couple favors, hit the thumbs up button. Also, help me to grow this channel and reach that first milestone of 10,000 subscribers and hit that subscribe button. And make sure your notifications are turned on so that you never miss out on a conversation like the one we're about to have. So I'm sure that most of you have heard by now that the Daily Wire is losing, again, another one of their biggest talents. Brett Cooper, if you don't know who she is, she hosts their show called The Comment Section, and she exploded onto the scene and onto their platform about 3 years ago. And in that very short time period, she has amassed over 4 million very dedicated subscribers. Like most of us, she talks about everything from culture to politics to trends to current events, but she has this unique appeal to Gen Z and Gen Alpha audiences and has been able to reach them in a way that someone who is, shall we say, further out from their 20s than we'd like to admit. Anyway, I'm not going to go digging through the archives to fact check exactly how she quickly rose to be this top tier talent that she is today. So please feel free to correct me if I say anything that is inaccurate. But I believe she was already an actress in the film and entertainment industry. And while I know her conservative beliefs and views are genuine to who she is as a person, it's also my understanding that her image and her style as a conservative commentator were very coached and very curated and very trained into her. And she was essentially molded into being this Gen Z megastar to reach Gen Z and Gen Alpha viewers in the most effective way possible. I think the idea that her image was very much molded and coached can be substantiated by the fact that you could essentially put a wig on Ben Shapiro, and aside from the depth of their voices, he could easily pass as Brett and vice versa, which has always been a little bit odd to me. However, in my opinion, I don't think her show would have been as successful had it been just anyone. Brett does seem like a very genuine and authentic person and a very well-spoken person whose views are her own, and her authenticity is why people have come back to listen and view at such a high level. I just didn't want it to sound like I'm saying that everything about Brett has been manufactured, because I don't believe that either. I'm just saying that what the Daily Wire has invested to turn Brett into what she is today is only part of the success, and luckily they invested in someone who has the it factor that resonated with people, which created this winning combination. But it also seemed like, at least to me, that she was someone that would stay with the Daily Wire for a very long time. Just based on who she seems to be as a person and the success of her show, just didn't seem to be any real reason for her to leave, at least not anytime soon. It seemed like it was a good working relationship, mutually beneficial to everyone, and that everyone was getting along just fine. At least that's what it seemed like. So it was a little surprising when just a few weeks ago, rumors started circulating that Brett was being pushed out of the Daily Wire or being forced to quit, and that there was some drama going on behind the scenes. Now, as the story has been covered by countless channels at this point, I don't feel like I need to go into a ton of detail, but just as a short version of the story, this is the first place I heard that Brett might be parting ways with the Daily Wire. So I'll play about 60 seconds of it so you can kind of see where this started and what sources were coming forward to describe that perhaps this was a possibility. And this is from the channel called The Unusual Suspects, and I will leave this video linked in the description box below in case you want to watch the whole thing.
This is kind of a crazy story that my friend James Lee broke like a week ago. He got a source from the Daily Wire that gave him like an inside scoop on the fact that the Daily Wire is pushing Brett Cooper out. And I was like, and I know who she is. She's great at her job. She does what she does. Yeah. And so I go and look up her channel, and I'm like, wait a minute. She's still producing videos though. What's going on? Yeah. And so I started digging in more. I talked to James, then I went and I started digging in and found my own source right at the Daily Wire. And now I've had even more come and corroborate it since I reported on it. And it's not just that the Daily Wire is pushing out Brett Cooper. It's actually that Brett Cooper is under one of these contracts that has her basically tied to secrecy and silence, because now that they're terminating her contract, their arbitration clauses are coming into play. So she is in a secret court of arbitration, not a public court, where she is under NDA and can't say anything about it while they spin whatever narrative they want about it. And they're circulating around letters internally that are saying like, oh, Brett Cooper wants to leave. And that is not the case at all, apparently, according to everyone at the Daily Wire that I've spoken to. And it's that she had disagreements with Jeremy Boring over what happened with Candace, probably, and certainly more disagreements in terms of like the culture there and what's going on, and is now getting pushed out. They are promoting her best friend, who was her maid of honor at her wedding. They offered her a contract that was so lucrative she couldn't refuse it.
The best friend that her bestie was already offered.
Producer Reagan.
The things that I have heard just from this channel and from others is that things were rocky behind the scenes, that she had maybe gotten on Jeremy Boring's bad side, that they had forced her out and handed her show to her best friend, and now she can't talk about what's really going on because of this NDA, is essentially being forced to go along with whatever narrative the Daily Wire wants to create about why she will no longer be working there. And I don't think that that would be too far-fetched to believe, as it's pretty well known that these bigger companies have their talent sign these NDAs, in part dictating how things are going to be handled should they ever decide to end their working relationship. But some of the things that I've heard and people have said about this departing message and video that we will get into in just a second from Brett, comments under some of Brett's videos leading up to her departure from the show has suggested that she wear blue on her last broadcast if she was under an agreement that kept her from being able to discuss what was really going on, and she did. So take from that what you will. In case you missed it, this was that message that she posted on December 10th.
The rumors online, and the rumors are mostly true. Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true that I am being forced out. It was my own choice to leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most unbelievable 3 years helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. Through the comment section, you all have made me braver, more articulate, more thoughtful, more hopeful than I could have ever imagined. And I'm grateful that we spent this time together. And I'm grateful that the Daily Wire gave us a platform to grow this community. But at this point in my life, I am ready to take on a new direction, both personally and professionally. This means new challenges and new endeavors, which I will share with you soon. As for this show, the comment section will continue with the Daily Wire. My producer, Reagan, is taking over as host of the comment section, and I wish her and the Daily Wire all the best. We have had 3 great years, and I am proud of what we've accomplished together. Leaving the show and the platforms that we've built is hard, but I'm very excited for what's to come. Knowing that we have brought so many people together in laughter over these last 3 years means the world to me. I appreciate all of you, so let's chat again soon. But in the meantime, go touch some grass, kick some rocks, and we'll catch up shortly.
As you heard her say, producer Reagan is going to be taking over this show. And she's actually somebody that has been filling in for Brett Cooper on Fridays for this last several weeks, which I believe at the time that they told the audience it was because Brett wanted some time off or she had some other things going on. I can't remember exactly what the reason they gave was. But what we do know is that they never gave any indication that this was to slowly ease Reagan into Brett's spot and warm up the audience to her and hopefully lessen the shock when Reagan took over as Brett's permanent replacement. And I just wanted to point something out. I am somebody who is a little bit obsessed with body language, and whether or not that's something that you believe is a thing or not, I kind of think that it is. You watch Brett through this whole message, she does seem relatively positive. She seems to be handling the news as best as she can. Do I think that she sounds excited and relieved and as enthusiastic about this as the people at the Daily Wire are making it sound like she is? No. But specifically when she mentions Reagan, it's like her entire demeanor changes just in that one sentence. And you guys can let me know if I'm hallucinating or not, but let's just replay that one sentence really quick.
This means new challenges and new endeavors, which I will share with you soon. As for this show, the comment section will continue with the Daily Wire. My producer, Reagan, is taking over as host of the comment section, and I wish her and the Daily Wire all the best.
Okay, so I'm not trying to overthink it, but just before that sentence, she kind of hits her hand on the desk and her entire face just kind of falls. Like I said, I think there's just a little more to it and a little bit of side drama before we get into what my thoughts and concerns are about how this is all played out. Apparently, Brett has unfollowed most, if not all, accounts associated with the Daily Wire and their hosts, including Jeremy Boring. And she's also deleted all of the photos of herself and Reagan from her Instagram account, who apparently was her maid of honor in her wedding. I've also heard that Brett's mom had liked a post that somebody made about Reagan supposedly stabbing her best friend in the back or something to that effect. So These are all things that people have pointed out. And of course, since Brett has not confirmed any of these things publicly, it is all speculation and rumor, thoughts and opinions. However, we can put the pieces together and probably conclude that the departure was not as rosy as they're all making it seem like. Despite the fact that Jeremy Boring's message was that this was a friendly goodbye and that there were no hard feelings.
Indeed. We're sad to see Brett go, but we're excited to see her take the next step in her journey. Brett's an amazing talent, both as a personality and as an actress. It's been a pleasure to see her bring the comment section to life these last 3 years, and her performance in the Pendragon cycle is sensational. I'm certain that whatever Brett creates next will be filled with the same joy and laughter and heart that she's brought to all of her work at the Daily Wire. And we wish her nothing but the best.
Now, I want to share my thoughts on the situation and just some of the things that I actually find kind of disturbing about it. First, when Brett says it was her choice to leave, I believe that, but that doesn't automatically mean that because it was her choice, that it was on the best of terms. I think that perhaps there were some things that she probably wanted to tweak in regards to her contract, her pay, and other details of the show that the Daily Wire may not have wanted to accommodate. Meaning that, of course, she has the choice to stay, but it would mean perhaps not getting the things that she wanted in her contract. So she could stay and work, but strictly on their terms. Or she could make the choice to leave because she wasn't getting what she felt that she had earned. One of the things that I thought was kind of shady about the whole thing that lends credibility to the idea that these were not the friendly terms they're all claiming the decision was based on, it's almost like putting Reagan in there was to say, we don't need to meet your terms because you're replaceable. Which is a little sad to me, if I'm honest, because I would think that Brett would have earned a little bit more respect than that. Secondly, what really freaks me out about all of this is the rumor that Reagan had been given acting lessons to sound, act, and basically mimic Brett. Because why? Do they think that people aren't going to notice and that they're not going to care? Because what really bothers me about that is that we're already losing so much authenticity as a society in general. We're almost having a crisis when it comes to figuring out who we can trust. And when we have one of the biggest platforms in conservative media demonstrating that authenticity doesn't matter, where does that leave us? That they can just pluck anyone out of a crowd, give them the right coaching and the right things to say, and we're just supposed to take them at face value that this is a credible figure that we should listen to. To me, that significantly belittles the movement of truth and being honest with people that we, on the right, are already fighting tooth and nail to preserve. These people who have become known as this conservative powerhouse are demonstrating that being real and honest doesn't really matter a whole lot. And that does call into question everything that the Daily Wire stands for. Are they being honest? Or are they all being given coaching and acting classes, with each show being given a designated character that they each have to portray to give this illusion of diversity, when in reality, none of them are really being true to who they are? They're doing exactly what we criticize Hollywood actors for doing, and it has no place in conservative media. It's just very, very bizarre, and it should absolutely not be what we want to become known for. At the end of the day, of course, I do think that Brett is going to be successful on her own. What will be interesting is to see if Brett is a different person when she starts to do her own videos, her own production, and has full creative control. Will she continue to be who the Daily Wire has turned her into? Will we see the Brett show and the Reagan show as carbon copies of each other, or are we going to get a completely different personality? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you are subscribed. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.